Carl Gustav Jung, the explorer of the human soul. If Sigmund Freud was the first to sketch a map of the human mind, then Carl Gustav Jung was the one who ventured into the uncharted lands of its deepest mysteries. Jung didn't stop at explaining mental illnesses. He expanded his vision into the world of symbols, dreams, and layers of the unconscious beyond the personal, a realm containing the spiritual heritage of humanity itself. In contrast to classical psychoanalysis, analytical psychology, founded by Carl Jung, is not just a method for healing psychological wounds. It is a journey of self-discovery, one that guides individuals toward wholeness through a process Jung called individuation. Concepts such as the collective unconscious, archetypes, and the shadow have deepened the foundations of modern psychology. They have radiated far beyond therapy, influencing philosophy, art, and popular culture. In this way, analytical psychology becomes not only a therapeutic method but an invitation to live mindfully, to connect with the authentic self that lies within us all. Key milestones in Jung's life. Carl Gustav Jung, 1875 to 1961, was born in a small Swiss village by Lake Constance, Keswell. He was the only son of Pastor Paul Achilles Jung and his quiet, introverted mother, Emily. Carl was named after his grandfather, a renowned physician and former rector of the University of Basel. From a young age, he lived in an environment where religion and science coexisted, seemingly contradictory streams of faith and reason that would leave a lasting imprint on his thinking. As a quiet child, Jung often immersed himself in his imaginary world. He disliked school and found it difficult to connect with other children. A painful memory of being falsely accused of plagiarism by a teacher caused him to retreat even further into solitude, where he wandered in the forest, read books, and reflected deeply, though he was still just a boy. In his autobiography, Memories, Dreams, Reflections, he wrote, "I was alone with my thoughts. On the whole, I liked that best. I played alone, dreamed, and walked in the woods, and had a world of my own." This solitary childhood and his rich inner imagination planted the seeds for Jung's lifelong fascination with the inner world of the human psyche. Every experience he lived became raw material for the psychological journey he would dedicate his life to. Academic path and the turning point with Freud. Like many boys of his era born into a religious household, Jung was expected to follow in his father's footsteps and become a theologian. However, with his innate powers of observation and deep reflection, Jung began to question religious doctrine early on, especially how his father practiced faith. To Jung, his father merely followed religious rules without true spiritual experience. He could clearly see his father's inner torment, a conflict he believed his father lacked the courage to face. As he grew, Jung realized theology wasn't his true calling. He longed for a deeper path, one that could help him understand himself fully, beyond the boundaries of dogma. However, Jung wasn't a radical. He didn't see science as an enemy of religion, but rather as an alternative lens through which to explore truth. Medicine, especially psychiatry, became his chosen path, allowing him to work directly with mental suffering and understand strange expressions of the mind that simple faith alone couldn't explain. In 1895, Jung began studying medicine at the University of Basel and later worked at Burghalsli Hospital, a leading psychiatric center in Switzerland. These experiences gave him deep insights into human psychology and laid the foundation for his fateful meeting with Sigmund Freud, a pivotal moment in both his career and his philosophy. The fated encounter and inevitable separation. In 1907, Jung met Sigmund Freud for the first time in Vienna. Their first conversation lasted 13 hours straight, deeply engaged in symbolic and psychological revelations. The two formed a strong intellectual bond. Freud saw Jung not only as his spiritual heir, but also a strategic figure to bring psychoanalysis into academic respectability. At the time, Freud's theories were still highly controversial, especially among European academics, not just for their content, but also due to Freud's Jewish heritage. Jung, a well-educated, aristocratic Protestant scientist from Switzerland, became Freud's great hope to expand psychoanalysis across Europe. Jung was appointed director of Burghalsli Hospital and became the first president of the International Psychoanalytical Association. He deeply respected Freud, even seeing him as a father figure, and often deferred to his opinions, even though he privately harbored doubts about many of Freud's theories. But over time, their theoretical differences grew. Jung opposed Freud's emphasis on sexual and instinctual drives as the primary forces behind human psychology. Meanwhile, Freud warned Jung that he would tolerate no dissent from his inner circle, not even from someone as important as Jung. Eventually, the clash between their strong personalities and opposing visions became unavoidable. In 1913, they had a major falling out. Jung formally broke ties with Freud, closing one chapter of his life and stepping onto an independent path, one where he would found analytical psychology. This choice laid the groundwork for ideas that would resonate far beyond the boundaries of traditional psychoanalysis. Core concepts in Jung's analytical psychology. After his split from Freud, Carl Jung developed his own theoretical framework, analytical psychology. This system focused on exploring the depths of the mind, where the unconscious is not just a repository of repressed urges, but a rich, symbolic, and multi-layered realm. 1. Personal unconscious versus collective unconscious. Personal unconscious includes forgotten memories, repressed experiences, and unacknowledged emotions. Example: a person represses a painful childhood trauma. In therapy, revisiting this can help them understand their present anxiety or fear. Example: a talented artist who never pursued art due to low self-worth might unlock this potential by exploring their repressed feelings. Collective unconscious, a deeper layer, holds archetypal images not derived from personal experience, but shared by all humans. Example: characters like brave heroes, wicked witches, or nurturing mothers appear across cultures and instantly resonate with people. Example: the symbolism of death and rebirth, often represented by spring or flowering, touches something universal in all human beings. Jung's collective unconscious contrasts sharply with Freud's unconscious, which primarily contains repressed desires and negative content. Jung saw the unconscious as a source of inspiration, containing positive, symbolic archetypes that guide human growth. 2. The shadow. The shadow is the repressed, denied part of our psyche, the desires and emotions we don't want to acknowledge. Jung believed we could only become whole by confronting our shadow. Example: someone who always appears kind but secretly resents being overlooked must face their anger to live more authentically. 3. Persona, social mask. The persona is the mask we wear in society, a necessary role, but dangerous if we identify too closely with it. Example: a woman presents herself as cheerful online but feels deeply empty inside. Without acknowledging her loneliness, she drifts further from her true self. 4. Anima/animus, intergender opposites. Every individual contains a portion of the opposite gender's energy. Anima, feminine side in men. Animus, masculine side in women. Integration leads to inner balance. Example: a strong, assertive man who is also emotionally sensitive, or a gentle woman who lives independently. Inner harmony comes from embracing both energies. Applications and legacy of Jung's theories. Carl Jung's analytical psychology has profoundly influenced not just psychotherapy, but also religion, art, philosophy, and popular culture. 1. Psychological therapy. Jung emphasized that therapy is not merely about curing illness, but about helping people reconnect with their deeper self and spiritual essence. His dream analysis method remains widely used, along with creative tools like drawing mandalas and journaling dreams. 2. Personality theories and MBTI. Jung's theories laid the foundation for the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI, a popular personality test. While Jung didn't create MBTI, his ideas about introversion versus extroversion, thinking versus feeling, etc., are core components of it. 3. Influence in art, literature, and film. Jung believed symbols and dreams are gateways to the soul.